Hello, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Angela.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, and welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Dr. Angela.
Thank you.
Yes, before proceeding to your session, I want to introduce you to our audience. Dr. Angela is a leading authority on women's empowerment and one of North America's top 100 thought leaders, specializing in the needs of millennial and Gen X women. With over 2 decades of experience, she empowers purpose driven individuals through counseling, public speaking, books, and her award winning shows Daily Spark with Dr. Angela and Daily Spark TV. A pastoral counselor based in Long Beach, California, she is also a cancer survivor, international speaker, and editor in chief of Passionate magazine. Dr. Angela is known for the motivational insight, practical tools, and faith based strategies that inspire transformative change. Her impactful work has earned her global recognition and features in top publications, solidifying her role as a trailblazer in women's leadership and wellness. It was truly an inspiring bio, Angela, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for that. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here today. I am going to click on share my screen, and there we are. I'm really excited to be here. And I know, like many of you, you look forward to these conferences because you get to learn so much. And though I have done a lot in my life, I look forward to the new bits and pieces that I can learn from the other amazing speakers that are here today. So, thank you to those who have gone before me and those after. We are doing exactly what we have been purposed to do, and that is to share our wisdom with others and to make a world a better place. Thank you. For everyone on the team, thank you. The seventh International Conference on Spirituality and Mental Health, that is nothing to sneeze at. So I thank you very much for allowing me to share in this particular event this year. Now, as it was said, I hold a lot of positions. I wear many hats, but so do most of us, right? As women, we have a tendency to be multifaceted. We are also multidimensional. So, because of that, instead of trying to choose, I say let's be the best that we can be at those things that we have been called to do, those things that we have been purposed to do in our lives. So, I will be presenting today Anchored in Light, a faith based approach to mental well being. This is a talk that shows you how spirituality aligns and brings clarity. It brings us to courage as well as to peace, and especially in seasons of stress, of anxiety, or transition. So, you will hear me speak from the perspective of being a pastoral counselor. You may hear something that reminds you that I am a mediapreneur. But most importantly, I am a person who believes that we all have been purposed for something while we are here on this earth. So let's get started. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. It's so encouraging, especially in a time where you feel that you may be a little overwhelmed. You're not sure what's next. So, to each of you, I say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is a joy and an honor to be on stage here today. Thank you to colleagues, to fellow scholars, to practitioners, and spiritual leaders, and especially to those that are viewing that simply want and care about the intersection of soul, spirit, and psyche. You want to be your best. Many of us have dedicated our lives to being someone who does the sacred work, the work that is many times behind the scenes. It's not always loud, but it is always needed. And yet, we know that while clinical skill and diagnostic insight are critical, the human experience of wellness is what reaches each of us, it's what touches each of us. So today, I invite you into a conversational perspective that reframes faith not just as an accessory to our mental health, but one that is a living anchor, one that stabilizes us in the presence of light in the inner world and of those we serve. This is a call to reimagine faith not merely as belief, but as a daily grounding force for our well being. So, what does it mean to be anchored in light? To be anchored is to be held securely, to be resilient, but not because the waters are calm, but because you are secured by something stronger than the storm. And light, that is the thing that grounds us. Light throughout both scripture and psychology is a symbol of clarity, of consciousness, of hope, and of divine presence. In theological terms, light often is a metaphor for the Logos, for divine order, for reason made manifest. In neuroscience, though, light regulates our circadian rhythms, our mood, and our cognition. Spirituality and biologically speaking, we are drawn toward the light because the light does what? It orients us. If we are ever unsure or unsteady of where we are, we look to the light. To be anchored in light, then, means that it is to be rooted in a stabilizing clarity of divine truth, to locate ourselves not in an external metrics of success and peace, but to instead root ourselves in a sacred knowing that transcends our circumstances. As people of faith, whatever your faith system is, and of science, we are called to recognize that wellness is not simply the absence of illness, but it is the presence of peace, a peace that surpasses understanding. That peace is, I believe, a fruit of being anchored in the light of God. There are three pillars to wellness. So let me offer these three as I understand it to you for integrating your faith into your mental well being, into your professional life, into your community. You can do so in a way that is spiritually attuned, but it is also psychologically sound and it is theologically respectful. And that's one thing that you'll find about me and what I do. Whatever your faith system is, I wish to be respectful of it. So, the first pillar is mindfulness through prayer and reflection. While mindfulness is often rooted in Eastern tradition, Christian spiritual practice is also a thing. It has been practiced and includes stillness, breath, and prayer as tools of inner alignment. For many, mindfulness has just become another buzzword. But for people of faith, mindfulness isn't just about quieting the mind, it's about connecting spirit. It's about connecting our soul through prayer, through stillness and reflection. We don't just settle our thoughts, we open our hearts to God. What neuroscience now affirms is that reduced amygdala It's increased emotional regulation. It's our ancestors practicing monastic silence. It's our daily prayer rhythm. It's our Lectio Divina. When believers engage in reflective prayer, we are not escaping thought. No, we are releasing it, surrendering remunerations to a God who both hears us and holds us, releasing our worries, our stresses, our anxiety to God. We're practicing in a dialogue with ourselves, but we are more importantly participating in a dialogue that regulates our nervous system and it renews our soul. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 48:10. Stillness is not passivity. It is profound presence. Number 2, our second pillar, it's illumination through the word. Scripture is not just sacred literature. It is a cognitive recalibration. When we internalize spiritual truth, we participate in what cognitive behavioral therapists call reframing. But in the faith based context, it's not just reframing, it's remembering. Scripture becomes both light and the lens. It interprets distorted thinking with eternal truth. Psalm 119, verse 105 says it this way: Your word is a light unto my path, is a lamp to my feet, and a light to my path. And this light means so much. Clients are not just invited to think differently. I encourage them, in fact, to see differently. Where the world knows them as being broken, the word calls them beloved. So it doesn't matter where you are in your experience, whether you're journaling a verse in the morning or you're whispering a psalm before bed. Scripture becomes that stabilizing force in our lives. And it's not something just for our grandmothers or even our mothers. It's for us here today. It redirects us to a mindset that is grounded not in fear, but in faith. There are going to be times where life can be scary. If I told you that it wasn't, I'd be lying to you, and I don't want to do that. So let's be honest, there are going to be moments that you are unsure, that you're worried, and you're not particularly wanting to go down a particular path. It's okay to not feel as though you have it all together and to step out in faith. You guys have all heard that saying that says sometimes you just have to do it afraid. Sometimes you have to do it scared. Sometimes we have to take that emotion of feeling scared, of feeling anxious, and use it as our fuel. Take those rocks that have been thrown at us and use it to build the ladder that we need to extend the path of where we want to go. Another thing that we can do is make sure that we are connected through community and worship. We are not designed to live life alone. God created us to be in a relationship with Him as well as with others. So when we're surrounding ourselves with spiritually supportive people, when we are around like minded folks, whether that's church family or a small group, if it's a trusted prayer partner, if it's your book club, wherever it is, we create spaces where healing can happen. And that is where the growth also occurs. In neurobiology terms, community regulates emotion through co regulation. From a theological lens, it reflects our imago Dei, that we are made in the image of a relational God, of a God that wants to spend time with us. Connection builds resilience. So worship builds perspective. And being in fellowship, that allows us to be both vulnerable and uplifted. Think about that. When you are having a conversation with someone that you trust, you're willing to share those things that make you concerned, those things that you are unsure about, because you know that in that space, you are, in fact, safe. That what you're thinking about, what you're dealing with, will not be blasted on social media. It will not be shared in a sermon, but instead, it will be something that you will pray together about, that you will gain wisdom and insight from those groups of people that perhaps have been there before. So, who we choose to be around us is so vital. It's so important because we are able to learn from each other. So, when we're anchored in community, we are less likely to drift into isolation, where despair often festers. Now, let's also remember that we have various groups of people. So, what can we do? Make sure that we are connecting with church, with our support groups, with our prayer circles, with our sister friends, right? These are not luxuries. They are spiritually and psychologically considered infrastructures of care, which means that they are needed. And in a world where loneliness is starting to be considered an epidemic, spirit filled community becomes preventative care. So I know you're asking, what can we do? Absolutely. Let's take a look. I call it the light routine. It is a daily anchor for our wellness. Anchoring in light must be more than just a concept, it must become a part of our daily rhythm. A light routine is a practical application of those things that are both theological and those things that are spiritually boosting to us. Those things that are rooted in our faith, but are also acceptable among most. Those things are what we consider ordering our days in God's presence. Think of it like this. In the morning, you have the morning light. Begin with scripture. Begin with breath. Don't start your day on the screen. Instead, start it with something sacred. I must admit, I used to pick up my phone before I did anything else. And I know that there are so many others that are like that. Our phones are right there next to us. Many times, those other things that we have to do have been placed feet, if not yards and yards away from us. But our phone, it's right there, handy dandy, so that as soon as we wake up, whoop, whoop, we check our phones. Let's learn to leave our phones down for just a moment so that we can have some sacred time and reconnect with God. One thing that I do is, and that I suggest to my client base, is that you journal 3 things every morning that you are grateful for. We want to start our day with an attitude of gratitude. So set your intention. Ask yourself, how can I walk in God's light today? What can I do that's going to make my day the best that it can be? Write it down and perhaps later even pray about what you have written down. But life doesn't just start or end with the morning. We might start there, but we don't end there. So we have a midday recentering. This is where we pause and pray, that we reaffirm our purpose. Now, for many, you may say, I don't have anywhere that I can really get away and pause. There's nothing wrong with going to your car in the parking garage, or perhaps visiting a different floor in your building, or simply stepping outside for just a moment of fresh air. This helps to regulate our cortisol. But more importantly, it resets the intention of our day. Our brains can only function for so long before it needs to have a purposeful pause. So be intentional about that purposeful pause. I like to do a thing called touch points, and I encourage you to do it as well. Text a loved one, read a devotional, or say an affirmation. It doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. You can say something as simple as, I am rooted, I am radiant, and I am resilient. Simply remind yourself of who you are and whose you are. We progress through the day, and we are now in the evening time. I like to call this the evening reflection. This is where we release through prayer. We reflect in the stillness. And the day does not end when the work ends. The soul needs closure too. So make sure that you are having a time for peaceful environment development. Light a candle, play worship music, or journal before you go to sleep. Let the space minister to your spirit. This rhythm doesn't require hours, it requires intention. As James Clear reminds us, you do not rise to the level of your goals, but you can fall to the level of your systems. If you do not have systems in place, then you will not know what to do next. You remember that phrase that used to say, you need to work your plan, because if you don't have a plan to work, you plan to fail. And I don't want that for anyone. So, whether you are a believer in the Christian faith or you believe in another system, these truths still hold, that our systems should be, not could be, but should be always spiritually infused. We should always honor who we are according to our faith. So, what can we do if that sounds like something that you would want to do? We need to make sure that we understand exactly where we stand. So let me say this with pastoral clarity and professional conviction. Seeking therapy, taking medication, or reaching out for clinical support does not disqualify your faith, it demonstrates it. To seek help is not weakness, it is wisdom. So remember that God has equipped counselors, physicians, researchers with the tools that we need so that we can create a space for those who need us. We trust that all truth is God's truth, and that includes the findings that we have in neuroscience, the efficacy of our treatments, and the sacred call of mental health professionals and pastoral counselors like myself. So please understand again that faith is not forfeited when care is pursued. It is, in fact, one of the smartest things that we can do. God walks with us in the therapy room. God walks with us in that in that support group. God walks with us when you are walking into your counselor's office. God is with us always. Now, as someone who has various platforms that I make available to others, I too want to share that with you here. If this message of faith fueled mental clarity and spiritual resilience has stirred something in you, if you're feeling called to move more from simply surviving into thriving, if you're ready to start leading and building and rising, then know this: clarity is only the beginning. Now, I realize that, of course, not everyone is alike. How boring that would be. So, if you are someone who is looking for the next step, but your calling isn't loud, it may be luminous. You're in a season where your fire is gentle, not fierce. Then for you, there is a space. Living in Divine Incandescence is a book that I've written. It is a spiritual wellness path. You read it like a devotional. It is for those seeking to live in deeper rhythm with God's light, not just publicly, but also personally. But I realize that some are saying, I've been there already. I'm ready for the next step. Of course you are, because life is full of phases and stages. I have a program called Unlocked and Called. For some of you, today is a wake up moment, a reminder that your calling has waited long enough. And for you, I want to invite to Unlocked and Called. It is my journey for faith filled women ready to lead with clarity and with courage. But there may be some of you that have been doing this for quite some time. This is not the first time that you have been involved in your purpose or in walking your path. For you, there is crown and cold. It is something in you today that has been deeply recognized. Like you've outgrown the surface level things that you've been doing, and you're ready to steward the next chapter of your life. You want to do it with the authority that you know that you have been called to do it with. That you want, again, that more personal experience. But more importantly, you realize that you have been called to a holy rhythm, something that is just for you. I've opened a small invitation only based program, and I called it Crown and Called. It's for women who are already walking in their impact. And like many of us, we know what we're doing, but we are ready to walk in the oil. As someone who has used her life's journey from starting a private practice to surviving breast cancer and having to start all over again, and understanding what it means to be given a second chance in life, I can share all of that wisdom with you, as well as the wisdom that others will share in the group. Now, I understand that this isn't for everyone, and it's not meant to be. But if it's for you, know that this is your invitation. So, ladies, I want to leave you with this. Isaiah 26:3 tells it to us this way: You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. I want to remind you that this is a promise that we offer. It is not a fantasy, but as we live, there will be layers to all that we do. This peace is possible. Make it yours. That light that shines, and even in the shadows, there is the one who holds us steady. You too can walk in the rhythm that is holy. You too can be anchored in the light that is not denied. You will get through the storm. You will outlast it, not by your own strength, but by the sustaining presence of a God that loves you and hears your voice. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much, Angela. That was really a great talk. You are really inspiration to many women. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
And
you.
we have a few questions from our audience, Dr. Angela. I want to
Yes.
ask you one of them. How do you help women move from stuck to unstoppable?
How do, repeat that, I'm sorry, how do women what?
How do you help women move from stuck to unstoppable?
Oh, thank you. How do I help women move from stuck To unstoppable? Great question. In a nutshell, first, it's about clarity. It's about self assessment and understanding where you are, asking yourself the hard questions, right? No need to lie to yourself. If you start with that base of where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? Why am I in the situation that I'm in? Be it that it's life, you made some bad decisions, it's monetary, it's a shift in society, whatever it is, it's starting at that foundation and looking at where do I need to start? And then realizing what tools do you need to utilize to bring into your life on a daily basis, monthly, yearly, forever. What do I need to do that shifts the paradigm, that shifts your mindset from where you used to be to where you want to go? Being in that space of unstuck is something that we must do intentionally every single day. We must fight the voice, so to speak, that prompts us to believe that we don't deserve it. But instead, we must listen to that small, still voice inside of us that says, you are able, you are possible, you are whatever it is that you need to hear, right? And in that, once we learn to walk in that and to remember that we can, so we shall, that changes a lot. So many times it's childhood things that have been told to us or picked up other people's baggage along the way, and it's not ours. So encouraging women to put that down, put that baggage down, put down those misleading thoughts, those intrusive thoughts. Put down that which does not belong to you. Open your hands so that you can receive the grace, the mercy, the power, the understanding, the forgiveness, and then hold on to that and let that be the fuel that you use to become the best person that you can possibly be because it's inside of you, because you've already been made to be that person. You just have to remember that you are.
What you said is a really perfect. We got the perfect answer for this question, Dr. Angela. And thank you so much for your valuable time. We are very honored.
Thank you. And to thank you to everyone who spent time with me today. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And be on the backstage and please join the next session.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye.